Here we go. Grab a highlighter. Follow me, okay? This is when you put your phones away and you're like, okay, I'm following. Leasing. Leasing a vehicle. I will say this. Leasing is basically an alternative to financing. This is what the lease payment, when you make your lease payment, this is what it's made out of. The dealer will lose money on that car, depreciation over time. So they need to charge you for it. They need to charge you for wear and tear. You're going to wear out the steering wheel, the seats. They're going to look worn out when you're done. They're going to charge you for the mileage that you accumulated. And they want to make a little bit of profit on top of everything, right? So they need to cover their costs and they need to add profit to it. That's what they're charging you for, okay? Some of the definitions that you need to know, I will add two terms that they made us aware of when we wrote the exam. So the down payment is the money paid up front. You don't get it back. This is not taxed. And here's where I want you to add underneath down payment. I hope it fits. No, let's put that way up top here. We're going to do it way up top. Security deposit. Why would you have to put a security deposit down? In case the car has damage and you return it. So you do get this back. I'll put that on top. You get it back. A big if, right? You get it back if the car is in decent condition. If there's just regular wear and tear, they're not going to worry about it. But if you like trashed it, you had a dog in the car, they're probably going to be like, well, your security deposit stays with that. It's like rent. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if you rent, you need to put a deposit down. And when you move out, you get it back if the apartment is still in decent shape. So this is a new term they want you to be aware of. Lease payment, the amount paid per month. Watch this. If anything is taxed in this section, when it comes to leasing, it's taxed 12%. The term of the lease is the number of years or months you have the car and make payments, also known as the maturity date. Right? When you say when does that lease mature? It's like, well, they're asking like how long is it for? They're referring to that. Okay. Two terms that are similar. I'm going to use a different color for this one. I'm going to use orange. Residual value and guaranteed residual value. They are basically the same, but one is obviously residual value is adjusted price due to depreciation. It is the cost to buy the car at the end of the lease. Okay, usually stated as a percentage. Highlight that as well. I'm going to use a different color so it just sticks out. Usually stated as a percentage. This is taxed 12% as well, because essentially you're buying it from the dealer, so 12% tax right there. Watch for the next one. Guaranteed residual value. That's something that dealerships are using more often. They're guaranteeing you like a certain amount. This is how much it's going to be when you're done your lease. And my theory is people don't know how to figure out like 60% of whatever it used to be. My theory. So there's like, let's just give them a number and then they'll know. Right? So similar to residual value, but it's stated as a fixed dollar amount. That's the only difference. So if your car is worth 30 grand brand new, they might state it in the contract. This is the residual value, 18 grand. When you're done, if you want to buy it, it's going to cost you 18 grand plus tax. This is taxed 12% as well. And this is the biggest reason why I would strongly discourage you from leasing. It's the mileage cost. I'm going to give that pink. What's my pink highlighter? Well, there it is. Okay. Mileage cost. There is a restriction on the amount of miles you can drive or kilometers. Most lease agreements have a limit, right? Lease agreements have a limit on the amount of kilometers you can drive. It can be stated as 10,000 kilometers per year. So a 3-year lease would mean, oh, sorry guys. If you can drive 10,000 kilometers per year, then in 3 years you can drive 30. Yeah, change that to a 3. That's my bad. So it could also be a fixed amount where it just says, hey, you can drive 100,000 kilometers for the whole term. This is also taxed 12%. And can you just look over here where I'm circling? This is the contract will tell you how much they charge you for every kilometer you go over the limit. So it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you'll find out pretty soon that it adds up when that happens. Okay, let's go and keep going to the formulas. These ones I typed out. So guess what? What am I going to say here? Add to study sheet. So maybe, just maybe, you should take a picture. It's like, which one? What is I supposed to put on there again? And you're like, oh, okay, this one. And then you just add that to your study sheet today at some point because you're going to need them. Friday, we're writing our quiz, right? So you need to make sure you have it by then. Let me add some more color to this. So on 46, these kind of go together. This has to do with mileage costs. They should go hand in hand. Okay. And am I going to add anything else here? Maybe just that every once in a while, they do ask for, hey, how much should this person pay in total when it comes to the lease? Put an arrow on the lease. Like this is just leasing. You don't own it. You just, all the components that come to leasing, right? So this would be the down payment, no tax. Make sure you understand that you do not tax your down payment. So you have to do it in this order, right? This part right here is your total payments. Would this be including taxes? That bracket? Something gives it away that it does include taxes right here. So this would be the total payments, including taxes, and then this is your mileage cost. There's something missing. This is not taxed just yet. Just look up carefully. You see where the mileage is? This is from way up here, mileage cost. If you look at this formula, it has been taxed here. So I am not sure what you should be doing here, if you should be adding taxes, but make sure to add taxes if you haven't. This is 12% taxes. But I will make a reference. I'm using green here. Okay, I'm going to highlight this green part and just say, hey, that's that. I inserted. So these are all the components that could be part of a leasing agreement. Is it possible that you didn't go over the miles? Yeah, so this would be gone, right? Is it possible that there is no down payment? It is possible, actually. There is 0 down payment scenarios. So then your formula for total lease is just that, just the payments. Okay, so always be aware of that. And then residual value is the residual value in dollars times 1.12 after tax. I'm going to say one more thing here. I'm going to make a slight change. So hold it on residual value. Let's go back to the previous page. I need you to add one more term. You're with me, right? At the bottom of 45, you're going to add this word, buyout. Buyout. And it's the word kind of says it all. Okay. This is the amount you pay if you choose to purchase the car after lease. Make sure you have that added to your. So with that being said, I'm going to now change one of the formulas. So instead of residual value, we're going to call that buyout. Okay, so take this where it says buyout, we're going to go to the formulas. And we're going to change residual value to buyout. Cross that. So the buyout is the residual value in dollars, right? Times 1.12 after tax. Watch what the last one, students are so thrown off by total, right? So think of this, like this is literally saying the total lease. Like these are the only components that are part of the lease. And then there's another total here, total cost. What does it say? Including purchase. It's basically saying including buyout. Okay. So total cost including buyout. So that'll be all of the lease plus the buyout. So I'm going to change this one as well to buyout. I didn't have enough time to change this on the document because I had ordered my printing already when they told us about that. So make sure you have buyout instead of residual value. It's just safer to go with it because that's what they're going to use. Okay, let's do an example. Okay, let's do some math. I will stop talking about the pros and cons. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm biased against leasing, but you might have a different experience. Maybe you know someone that's leasing and they're quite happy with it. So go to page 49. A minivan sells with an MSRP of $28,500. I'm going to highlight that because sometimes information is given and you're not going to use it, but chances are you will. And it leases for the lease payment is $479 per month plus tax. So we have to add taxes to that. The lease term is 24. There is a down payment for $1,500 required. And watch this. The guaranteed residual value of the vehicle is 62% of the MSRP. Let's grab a different highlighter for that one. That statement right there, we're going to use that if the question asks us to actually buy this car, which probably it will. Okay. And here you go. Calculate the total payments amount after tax. So total payments, so this is only the payments, would be $479 dollars, right, times 1.12. So this would be one payment including taxes. Let's put a bracket like that. That's one payment including taxes. How many of those do we make? It says here the term. Yeah, 24 months. So sometimes I give you the term in years, turn it to months. So let's go ahead and do that. There's my calculator. 479 times 1.12. So technically one payment would be 536.48. And we multiply that by 24. You could do it all in one shot. I'm just showing you here, one step at a time. And there it is, 12,875.52. I'll tell you already, one of the biggest reasons that people choose to lease is because the payment is lower and you have a brand new car. Right? So some people like that appeal of the brand new vehicle. If you were to buy it, your payments would be much higher. Okay. So that's it, just the payments, guys, including taxes. Let's make sure we understand including taxes or after taxes. What does it say next? Calculate the total cost of the lease. So this is basically total lease. And if you look at the formula, you're going to look for where's total lease? Where is it? Right here. It asks for down plus total payments plus mileage. This question, I made sure there was no mileage because most questions don't mix mileage. It's either mileage or like how much did you pay for the down and the payments, but I will mix it up. So there no mileage mentioned. So what's my down payment? $1,500, right? Plus the total payments, 12, just copy. However, I need you to make sure you don't add taxes when there's no taxes to be added, right? Because it does say after tax. This is already including taxes, right? We have already taxed this number. And this gets no tax, right? So no tax on this. This is already taxed. So really all you're doing here is adding these up. So it ends up being this much. Remember, the down payment does not get taxed. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes, or the most common, most frequent mistakes would be taxing your down payment, because you're like, wait a minute, I taxed my payment, I didn't tax my down payment. So students multiply that by 1.12, right? Next, calculate the total residual value of the minivan after tax. And we're going to change this. Calculate the buyout. Yes. Calculate the buyout value of the minivan after tax. So buyout, this is how you figure it out. The residual value times 1.12. What is the residual value? I'll do that on the side. 62% of MSRP. I don't like percentages, so you go 62 divided by 100, 0.62. MSRP, we were told, is 28,500. Let's calculate that. That's 17,670. So they're basically saying this is how much the car is worth right now. Your lease is over. You're deciding, should I buy it, should I not? This is what you're looking at paying for it at the end. Okay. So we basically just take this number, plug it in there, and add taxes to it. So we take this. I will use highlighters yet to make sure you understand we're bringing this in here. When it's anytime you see something of something else, that's usually multiplication. 19,790.4. Half a mark off right there, right? So just make sure you go for it. That's the buyout. The buyout. If you want me to highlight, I will do this. Or if you want arrows, if you don't have highlighters, just go right like that. And last but not least, calculate the total cost of leasing and buying the car at the end of the lease. Okay, so basically total including buyout would simply be get your answer from B, right, the total lease, and add C to it. So these two numbers here, we're going to add these two. That's basically the total cost. So 14,375, 52 plus 19,790, 40. 34,165.92. Okay. Most questions have some sort of mileage, except for I'm just going to leave this as is. So your only homework is right, update study sheet. Right? Leasing formulas. Leasing, financing, buying used, buying new. There's a bunch of formulas. Very important to have. Okay, that's it. You got 7 minutes to do whatever.